Go.
All right.
Hey, all you holistic hipsters out there. It's that time. So grab your chalice of choice and sit back and sip along with us. We would love to welcome you to the Tea Podcast, where we spill the tea on all things holistic in the pet grooming industry. Let me introduce you to our hostesses with the mostesses.
She is the socialite of skin and coat care, Ms. Michelle Knowles.
And the queen bee of all things oily, Ms. Melissa Conti-Diener. Brought to you by TheOilyGroomer.com. Are you searching for a new and more mindful way of grooming? Interested in understanding how to grow your grooming business with a more holistic and organic approach? Please contact Melissa Conti-Diener at TheOilyGroomer.com so that you can set up a meeting and bring balance and prosperity to your life. And AllThingsPaw.com. Intermediate and advanced courses in pet esthetician work, fear recovery, animal handling, and more. Get your learn on with All Things Paw. Also, classes with Melissa, online and self-guided, intuitive energy work, transitional therapy, and compassionate touchpoint therapy, and more. And the Herbal Paw Pet Apothecary, tailored for the individual pet, phone consultations, history gathering, and the home of the Herbal First Aid Kit.
Now, let's get this tea party started.
Oh my goodness! Hello!
Hello.
It feels like it's been forever.
I know. We just spent a week together in actually a very nice hotel room.
Yeah, actually, it was really nice. We had come home from the Groom Expo West and needed a whole week to recover, so that's why you didn't see us last Thursday. And then we're just kind of winging it now. We're still recovering because we're older ladies. We're not young spring chickens, and we needed that extra rest.
Yeah.
All of you vendors that go to shows, every show all year long, holy cow, you have to have a callus for that because that's a lot.
That was a lot. And it was the first time that for me that I've ever had to do like the full setup, tear down, just all of it. I've demoed for other people at their booth, but I've never actually been in charge. And so
isn't it fun though? Isn't it nice to be able to do what you want to do, say what you want to say, sit when you want to sit? It's good stuff. I like it.
So that's our topic, is our recap.
Oh yeah, I'll put it in there even before we take our sips. How about that? Just because, bam.
We just jumped right into it. We're just all off kilter. It'll take
we really are.
It'll be April and we're still recovering.
This is my sip for today because I need hydrated. Okay.
Yes, me too.
And it's just a little orange water, and that's all it is. I just need hydrated. And make sure you're taking your magnesium. Holy cow.
That's what I was saying. I've got this filled with water and the what are those? The essential minerals and trace minerals and all that in there. And I've just been trying so hard to make sure that I get it in. Because unfortunately, Michelle had to help me with my feet were cramping from so much walking and carrying all the heavy stuff and doing all that. My poor toes were just like,
oh, it was bad. Yeah, it was bad.
My little princess feet were like, we can't handle this. So, and
they were being very princessy.
You forget to drink water. You forget, you have coffee, you have tea, you have other things, but.
And if you drink a lot of water, a lot of times we forget to take our magnesium, which we're deficient in. Everybody on this planet is magnesium deficient because we use it up. But remember, it's responsible for over 600 different and more 600 different that we know about processes in the body, and one of them is to lessen cramping and to help you sleep
Right.
and help you go to the bathroom. So I mean, those are really important. So,
Exactly.
you really need to make sure that you're taking your magnesium.
Because like 599 of those problems I'm exhibiting
Oh,
at this point
yeah.
in time. So
We did. We took a huge walk to go get her some trace minerals too.
Yep.
Because I didn't have any with me.
Well,
So,
I'm sick now.
how did you feel about Groom Expo West? I feel fantastic. I got to see so many old friends and meet a bunch of new ones and talk about all the stuff I've been doing. So, I mean, it was, I think it was a hit. I loved it. It was tiring, and we drove back and forth. We didn't fly. And, but I think it went well.
I think it went great. I mean, it was just amazing to just do a girls trip, even just you and I, and then of course Erin, who corralled us. And
shout out to Erin Stank for being the very best booth worker, colleague, friend,
everything,
caregiver, and all around Girl Friday. She is the best.
It was just it wouldn't have been the same without Erin there, because she really held things together. The first day of the show, obviously she works as your assistant as well, so she knows your products and she knows you know all your information and everything. Not so much mine, but she was a trooper, man. I'd be like, I have to pee, and
she just cross streamed so well. She's like, oh, and let me show you these herbs and stuff and the candles and the blah. She was on it.
She was on it, and she did not stammer or anything. And and God bless her beautiful heart. She just really, really gave
up. She steps up. Yeah.
Yeah.
She just steps up. She just gets it done. I love that about her.
So she was awesome. And if you are on the East Coast and you're a groomer and you haven't been to that Pasadena show, Groom Expo West, you really should try to budget to be able to attend it 1 year. It's really a nice show, and it's frequented by quite a few well-known competitive groomers that you can get to see.
Yeah, absolutely. You get to see, and they are so friendly, and you are able to talk to them and look at their dogs and learn what their critiques were on the stage.
Right.
It's really, really good. And I know that the East Coast is quite saturated with grooming people and shows and stuff like that. But I think it's really good to spread your horizon and see how the other half lives. You know, I think the California people should go to some of the East Coast shows and vice versa.
Yeah.
And there are so many new shows in between now that are popping up. The next one I'm going to be at is Teton, which is going to take place in Utah. So it's not really Teton, but we didn't want to change the name, or they didn't. I'm not in charge of it. But they didn't want to change the name, so they kept the name, but it's in Salt Lake City, I do believe. So that's going to be really fun. And
then you're also doing Rocky Mountain, which is just the second year as well for that.
Yeah. So that's going to be really fun. So there's one coming in May, one coming in July.
It was a really great show. I did Rocky Mountain last year as well, and it was really a nice show. I mean, Tina did an amazing job, and for a first time ever putting on a show. So, and they have not to mention you, but they have quite the lineup also.
I know. I'm really excited. It's such a variety.
Yeah. I was like, that's a good lineup.
Yeah. And the Teton show, actually, it's being considered for the first time, even though this is its third year.
Right.
Quincy Cole is heading it up, and I'm going to be headlining there and doing the full day of skin and coat classes.
Nice.
But there, I guess her theme was to have education for the everyday groomer. So everybody was hand selected. It's just not, they didn't just throw it together. She handpicked everybody so that they would fit into the scheme of an everyday groomer.
Right.
So I thought that was really thoughtful.
Nice, really nice, thoughtful process of putting that show together. Because, I think sometimes the everyday groomer gets a little lost in the show circuit, because it's geared to a lot of specialty things, like competitive grooming and creative, right?
And a lot of people are going for their masters or for some kind of a certification,
right?
So there is all those things, but I think that the everyday groomer, I mean, it's fun to watch those people at their best and win their awards and stuff. It's exciting and amazing and really astonishing to see how they have perfected their craft.
Absolutely.
You know, really beautiful grooms. But I do believe the 90% is a little bit underserved. You know, we want to be the best at what we can do for the dogs that we see, you know, because a lot of us don't compete or show or, you know, do any of that stuff. So it's hard to go to a show that has just all that stuff. And how do you morph that into something you can use when you go back home? I think
it can be overwhelming too. I mean, I've heard that there's so much to see and so much to do, and how do you fit that into what you're actually going to take the time to see and do that is actually going to benefit you when you get back home and go back to work. So, you know, it's kind of one of those things where you have to balance out, well, I'm interested in this, but I need to get this, and kind of try to balance that out with the way that the classes are. And the nice thing about that is that even if you just go to the trade show and you don't take any of the classes, which I think sometimes that's the best way to do your very first show, so that you can kind of just take the time to walk a show and watch the competitions and all that. There's so much going on that showroom floor.
Right. There's demos and people talking, and even all of the major booths do have somebody there to talk about their product and how you use it when you take it back home, and they have personal experience with it. So, I mean, it's really something to just talk to everybody and get their take on what their product is and get your feel of what you want to use or what you want to try next. It's an amazing opportunity to learn a lot about products and your hard tools. You got to put them in your hand and really feel them and see if that's something that you want to invest in, or maybe hand stripping knives you've never hand stripped before. Maybe that's a good opportunity to see what fits your hand better. So, I mean, it's an amazing way to explore what the grooming industry has to offer.
Well, for a lot of everyday groomers, we get to see things online, but we don't get to actually experience them. So it's like things like understanding a shear that's fitted for your hand, or, you know, or understanding the difference between, now it used to be like trimmers used to just be pretty much one company. And now there's so many different companies out there that you can look at them, and they've changed the shapes of them to make them more ergonomic, to fit different hand sizes even.
Right. Aaron just purchased a new one that I'd never heard of the brand. And I'm sorry that I'm old and I can't remember what the brand is, because I would shout you out on here.
I think it's Joyzy.
I don't know. I'm not sure if it is or not. Anyway, they have a clipper that is cordless that weighs just a little bit over 9 ounces, which is what the lightest Andis 5-speed weighs corded. That is amazing. And I put it in my hand and kind of cut hair on her dog when I saw her last on Tuesday. And I was like, oh man, if this were available when I was younger, you know what I mean? And she's like, I know, it's so quiet. I just love it.
I know.
So
I want
really interesting to
have
feedback
on it, because I don't generally groom with a clipper anymore because my hands can't hold it. So I have to just use the trimmer with clip combs, unless I have to do something heavy. Like a heavier job. But like you saw me holding Juju a minute ago, that's about the size of the dogs that I do. So I can get away with working with that. Although I do have a couple of mini doodles that I work on that are a little bit bigger. But other than that, most of mine are in the itty bitty category.
Yeah, I know. I got 5 dogs that I groom per year at various times, depending on where their grooming falls. So my one and only one that I groom from my home, she's a very dear friend. I've been through a couple of dogs with her. She's coming, and I think her poodle weighs maybe 2 or 3 pounds.
Oh,
like that's it. Then that's enough. My hands hurt after I'm done with her, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I can't imagine being still in the game. And I know people older than me are still grooming.
yeah.
I just couldn't take it. I had to step back.
Yeah, I just have a handful of clients that I do at home, and then I teach, and I'm in the classroom teaching grooming. So it's obviously I'm grooming, but not in the sense that I'm grooming like if I worked in a regular, salon.
Right.
I'm doing half of a face, Sure.
You're an instructor. I mean,
Right.
that's what you do. So, yeah.
But I'm still, and the corded clippers, because the students, they get those bricks. I mean, that's what you have to learn with those. They're heavy duty. They can handle you dropping them and the dogs kicking them off the table and all the things that happen with them.
Until you learn how to protect your tools.
Exactly. There is a purpose for that. It's like you're not going to give a kindergartner a $400 sable paintbrush to start out with, with watercolors.
Right.
So it's the same thing. You get those, and I think about it all the time. I think, oh, this thing is so heavy, and this is so hard to work with the cord. But my brain is ahead of where their brain is, and so I'm not doing. I've broken habits of leaving my stuff on the table, and So, but I struggle with the regular clippers. My hands just don't want to hold it anymore. It's so heavy and bulky. And then the cords are always in the way.
And sometimes even the shape of them. If you have to use somebody else's clippers and they're not the same shape as the one that you're used to using, that makes your hand ache. Like, it's ridiculous.
I missed that. I missed that being at the show. When you have a booth, you have to be in the booth. So I did miss that. Being able to go out and touch and feel and see everything that was new. If I did have to run to the restroom, I would quickly find different ways to get there so that I could kind of see what was going on here and there. But for the most part, you have to be in your space to talk to people that are coming up to see what you have. So
I think that people who come to the show don't really realize how much it costs to even be there for a vendor.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
A vendor really does pay a pretty penny to just set up and to show you what they have to offer, and we all pray that we at least break even or do really well. So,
I have to say we were the cutest booth, or the most ethereal booth there was.
I agree with that. I don't know what I'm going to do at Teton. It's just going to be minimalist because I can't do that.
I'm the maximalist.
I will miss all those fairy lights.
I took 900 fairy lights and flowers and all kinds of everything. We had it all.
Oh my gosh, it was so
like
much fun.
Dionysus's cave over there.
Truthfully, There's like, this is so cute. It smells so good over here. I love it. And
I think I won hands down for the most unique items at a grooming show.
Oh, I agree.
People were kind of like, what? Huh?
And the one and only trademark poop game was
that was
we've had so much. So we'll be bringing you the poop game at Teton, but not at Rocky Mountain because I don't have a booth there. But I will have a booth at Teton, and we will have the infamous poop game where there's fun and prizes to be had. It's going to be fantastic.
And what dates are they, Michelle? What dates is Teton?
It's in May.
And then what is Rocky Mountain?
Rocky Mountain it's in July, I believe.
It's in July. Okay. And they're weekend shows, right? Isn't it like a Friday, Saturday, Sunday?
Yeah. Teton is May 9th to the 12th. It's really 10 to the 12th, but I get there on the 9th. And then we leave on the 13th. So it's that weekend. And then
we lost Michelle for a minute here. So let's see if we can get her back. Here she comes. She's back.
Yay! I quick clicked the wrong button. Woohoo!
I'm like, wait, we lost Michelle for a minute. I knew you would come back. I didn't stop the recording.
I pressed it in the wrong button.
It always makes our podcast all the more interesting. You never know.
Oh, I don't know when.
We just do witchy shit, pop in and out like that.
We do. We do. I believe that Rocky Mountain is July, the weekend of the 18th through the 22nd.
Okay.
Ish, yeah. That's when it is.
Those are nice shows too. Mm-hmm. And those are areas that were not formally served before.
Right. So I like to see the new people. It's going to be really good to have a new experience and meet new people and, and get the word out about education and whatnot. I that's my favorite is talking about skin, you know me. But yeah, I think that those are going to be really fun to do. I've never done either one. I've done the Teton show once before, but it was owned by a different entity. And this is going to be a whole new deal, I believe. I think Quincy is just going to make it her own, and it's going to go from there, which I'm really excited about.
Well, I'm anxious to hear how it goes. I will be here at home. I think I'm good. One show a year. I feel that. I'm still recouping here. I'm like, I'm making jokes because I have this big heavy sweatshirt on and it's 75 degrees here in Arizona. So, but I run cold anyway. Sorry, Juju.
She does. Yeah.
Juju needs love.
She had cold hands and she thought they were all freezy. I'm like, just put them on my neck.
Oh my God.
Michelle, down my blood. I'm like a furnace. And that's just on a good day. That's not even me having a hot flash.
That's why I say you are the yin to my yang. So
yeah, and when I do have a hot flash, it's even hotter than that. So I mean, it's debilitating sometimes.
I get them.
He just was like, oh my gosh, your neck. I'm like, yeah, just put them right here where the blood goes to the brain. Pull that down, will you?
Yeah, it's the joys of getting older, you know.
Yeah. Well,
things that happen, but I think we had a really good turnout at our booth. Like you said, the poop game was so successful. It really was fun. It drew in so many people. Mm-hmm. I think that it was a great success to have people come and actually try your dewdrops. Mm-hmm. That was something that I think a lot of people, and I thought it was kind of funny, you know, that the universe works in mysterious ways, that we were literally across the lane from the aloe people and they were doing their lotion and all that. And then Michelle had her dewdrops, which are not lotion. It is an actual barrier product.
Yeah, it's a barrier repair product. You could use it like lotion, and it's a lot more support for your skin than an everyday lotion. But yeah, it was pretty fun. We were like the skincare corner because the people next to us were Smush
Face.
Smush Face, which is an excellent product for wrinkles and things like that. Really well. Yeah. The ingredients are some of the ingredients that I would use in a natural form. They did really, really well in formulating that. And they have it in all kinds of different deliveries that you can use depending on what your dog needs. So shout out to Smush Face for real.
Yeah. Squish Face.
They were amazing. Squish Face.
Yeah.
Smush Face, Squish Face.
Those ladies were lovely too.
They're delightful. Yeah, very delightful.
They were great to be neighbors with. So it was a fun show. It really was. I got to fritter around a little bit. Bobby Panther stopped by.
And good news, shout it out. It out.
Yeah, Bobby stopped by and she is back with Bobby Panther Pet Products. So full circle. So Nildor still owns the company, but they've had a huge corporate changeover. And they were brilliant enough to bring the lovely Bobby back. Mm-hmm. And they never changed her formulations. Mm-hmm.
So people that loved Bobby Panter, she is now reassociated with her own brand that she started with her name on it.
Yeah.
And feel free to frequent Bobby Panter now because
Once again,
is back on track. Yeah,
she
absolutely.
Yep, she is back. And I was especially happy because in the earlier days of her product and doing booths and things, I did some demo work for her at the shows, and so it was a product that I absolutely loved and adored. And I loved the fact that the founder was a part of the product, was like, would come out and meet with you. And she had Heidi then. And
she's never she's never like just this manufacturer. Oh, I produced it and there it is. And then she was never there. She was hands-on, in person. She's so personable and so sweet. Super nice to work with.
And I was excited she was there in her little pink Barbie pumps, so that always makes me happy. I had my
2 peas in a pod.
I know. I had my pink high top Converse on, but because my can't do Barbie pumps anymore. They're too old. But too many years on the grooming floor. But yeah, she just looked fabulous as always. So I was super excited to see her. Melissa Jepson stopped by and got the tour of our booth and all the products, and
Aaron Martin stopped by.
That's
we just felt like we just were celebrity crushing the whole time. It was really, really nice to see those
Denise
people.
Came by.
Denise Hero came by. Yeah,
she stopped by.
Quincy Cole came by.
Yep, Quincy Cole.
We had a bunch. We had a bunch of people.
A lot of people come by. The ladies at Balanced Dog.
Yeah.
That I worked with in Marina del Rey. Now they have a brick and mortar in Venice. I did some consulting with them, and they were a semi-mobile. They had their little hitch trailer, but it was like parked in a specific spot, and they would service the dogs in the Marina del Rey area where all the high rises are around the bay. And now they've actually moved into a brick and mortar in Venice. And so
and they're doing really well.
Oh my God, they're doing fantastic.
And just as happy and as successful as they can be. And they're growing.
So thrilled to be a part of their journey and to just be able to come out. I worked with them for a week. They had me come out and work with them and work with their staff and do some staff training. And so those ladies stopped by as well. It was just, and the countless groomers that just stopped and said, I follow you. I love you guys. And we watched the tea, or we listened to the tea, or just everybody that came by and just supported us. Gratitude beyond belief for that.
Absolutely. And anyone who played the poop game and got their photo taken, if you go to my Instagram, which is All Things Paw, go to the Instagram and you can see, hopefully you'll see yourself on one of the reels. I did all 3 days and made reels from all of you. So,
and then I also
see all your beautiful smiles.
I shared mine as well. So it's on at the Oily Groomer on Instagram, and then my Facebooks. And there was a lot that we just got to interact with, whether it was famous groomers or infamous groomers.
Right. We had a couple of those too.
And the everyday groomers, I was thrilled to see Yolanda Farland, who is the modest groomer. I work with her at Twin Tails, and she came out and she was taking classes and doing all that good stuff and getting her learn on there. And she came back. She was like our little showrunner, telling us what was going on at this booth, or who had what at this booth, or what deals were going on here and there. So it was great to see her, another familiar face, and that she really values the ability to get that education. And she's an amazing groomer, but she's even more amazing now that she's taken all these classes. Her skill level, she's so excited to like show what she can do now. So, and that's why I'm like, even if you don't take the classes, there's so much going on that floor, like all the demos.
The demos were incredible this year.
Gabriel was there. I never say his last name right, but it begins with an F. Whatever it is, he's absolutely adorable with his creative dogs, and he was there at the Andis booth doing his thing. I managed to run and drop off a little care package to Jonathan David over at the Kenchi booth, where I got my picture with him, and I was so frantic to hurry up to get back to the booth. I was actually having a conversation with Jess Adorno, and I totally forgot to get a picture with her. I know, we're talking about her leg and all this, and I walked after I got back to the booth. I was like, oh my God, I totally didn't even take a picture with her. I did see Nathan and his gorgeous winning poodle that he won with. So there was so many people. I waved to Olga.
The bougie groomer was there.
Yeah, the bougie groomer was there.
Yeah, we saw her, and so there's just a ton of people. Ton of people. It was just really nice to see old friends and meet new ones. I've been out of the game for a long time as far as booth and shows, but it was really nice. It felt like coming home. First show of the year, a good start for 2024. I think it was really awesome.
Yeah, so. I had a good time, and again, it was so nice just kind of seeing everybody. I missed seeing Mary. Usually Mary Aquendo is at a lot of the shows. She wasn't at this
she wasn't there. She's working through doing some other things.
Right.
She's getting ready to make a big change. I'll allow her to tell you in her time, but she's making some big change. Angie Coates is making some big changes here in a minute as well. So shout out to her, and I can't wait for you to make it public. And I'm so excited for you. So excited. Absolutely. And so happy for you both. I think
we forgot to mention Chris Anthony came by from Evolution.
Chris Anthony came by. Oh,
yes.
And I sent some things to the groomers ball for the swag bags, and we were joking that she says, if I didn't get to thank anybody who did that, because I'm also on the town hall with Mary Quendo and Chris Anthony and Denise and Angie.
Right.
And I said, no, I'm going to need a handwritten note of thanks. On a bar napkin with a kiss on it, and by gosh, she delivered.
I love it.
So I'm gonna frame it, and it's gonna go right here.
There you go.
Can see it.
There's your space for it right there.
Yeah. So she was there, and I got that. So absolutely, we had a good time. We had a really good time.
We did. It was nice to just interact, and I mean it just means so much to me, like running to the restroom, trying to hurry up, get back to the booth, running to the restroom, and people just being like, you're the oily groomer, and can I take a picture with you? And quick get a picture, standing in line in the restroom, and somebody like tapping you on the shoulder or whatever, and being like, can you take a picture with me? Is it okay? Or I love that. Like, some people are like, doesn't that bother you that you're in the restroom? Or, you know what? I'm not in the stall, and guess what? I'm vain enough to be like,
oh no,
stall and take a picture with me. I'm cool. I'm fine. I'm vain enough to know myself well enough to know that I'm so thrilled that you know who I am, and that you follow me, and that you find value in what I'm doing. That validates me more than anything else that I could ever do, than when somebody just comes up to me and just says, I follow you because your posts are funny, or I need to hear those kind of things every so often.
Uplifting, and you give them direction. I think a lot of times, I don't know how many times when I've been feeling doubtful or sad or down or whatever, and you'll come across with some, oh my gosh, dancing. This is me dancing when they said don't dance. And I'm like, okay. That's Melissa.
But it is. Make sure you take, if you do go to these shows, make sure you take the time to go up and meet those people that you follow and say hello to them, because it really does mean the world to them.
It really does. And we go to these shows so that we are accessible.
Right. And we want to connect with you. I'm
super introverted. So, people think I'm either standoffish, or they think, oh, she's too busy. I'm not. I'm just sitting there with, RBF. That's all I got. That's all it is. So, yeah, no worries.
It's just so nice, when like people would stop by the booth and I'd be like, oh, let me, show you what I have up on. They're like, oh, I know what you have. I follow you, which means so much that because this is such a nameless, faceless thing, the internet.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's so cold and impersonal that when somebody actually says that stupid meme that I posted really, made a difference to somebody or made me laugh and I was just having the worst day or, any of those things, that makes it worth it for me to not shirk my responsibility of, because I a lot of times I wind up setting those things up to post like automated, like scheduling posts so that I do have posts up. And a lot of times I'm like, man, nobody really cares. And I struggle with that imposter syndrome a lot. Where
that's funny because when I post it at that moment. I don't have anything scheduled. So if there's 15 posts on Facebook, that's because I was sitting there scrolling, and that's how that happens. That's it. That whatever. I was right there. I saw it. It was funny, and I shared it.
I do that on my stories.
Like half the time I'll share stuff, and then I'll get a message. Did you see what you posted? Like, do you believe that? I'm like, no, I just thought it was funny. I mean, it's up to everybody else to interpret. I'm not all, did you know? Yeah. I'm not like that. I'm like, whatever, it was food for thought, whatever.
Yes. But it's nice when somebody actually kind of responds in a more personal way. And taking that time to like reach out. Like I showed you guys, a groomer reached out to me that I didn't know, I've never interacted with, and sent me a message on Messenger, just that it's like that she was inspired by me and my story and the things that I do, and just a general thank you. And it's like I'm so grateful for those things, because a lot of times we do this and it's very thankless. It's not that we have a lot of people that say, oh, this is great. And not that we want to hear that all the time, but it is nice to get validated.
Shared a booth with you this year. I don't know how you could possibly have imposter syndrome. You have created ripples that are still rippling against shorelines. There are so many people who know who you do, who depend on your little boost of positivity during the day. Like, they really do respond to you. And I think that was a wonderful thing to see out loud in person. You know what I mean? So many people follow you. So many people are in love with your philosophy, what you're teaching, how you teach it. We all think you're the bee's knees.
I just let my crazy out. I just let it show. It is who I am. And I just, you struggle. I think a lot of people struggle with who they are. And
they do.
And so a lot of the stuff that I post is for me. And and I hope it helps somebody else, because I know there's a lot of people out there that are like me, and that, let those voices live rent free in their head that tell them that they're not good enough, or that nobody wants to see or hear those things, or
you're too much.
Yeah. Well, that's always a big one for me.
And I'm a minimalist, and Melissa, you're never too much for me. I love all of it. Even though I can't express myself that way, I appreciate you expressing yourself to your fullest. I encourage it. I think it's beautiful, and I love every minute of it.
It's just all of that is in me. And it's like when like I joke around and I say people don't recognize me without my glasses on. Like, people, like, if I had my glasses on my head like this, or I had them hooked on my thing, they would be like, oh, I didn't know it was you, or I didn't recognize you. And so
your glasses are signature.
Yes. And so I always joke and say I'm the opposite of Clark Kent, of Superman. He takes his glasses off and turns into Superman, and I put my glasses on and turn into the oily groomer. And truly, it is a persona for me to like really step into the fullness of who I am creatively, and what I believe and how I feel about things. And there's a safeness in that, I think. because that's a separate persona than my private persona.
Right.
And it's like, and if you don't know this by now, then you probably don't follow me, but I'm a huge fan. I love RuPaul and all things drag, and I just believe that they are very unique artists, and it's a form of drag for me. With all my hair pieces and jewelry and my glasses and all of it. It's just a way of expressing myself. And I think a lot of people want to be able to do that, but they're afraid. And I want to give people license to be who they are.
Because sometimes all it takes is someone, even a stranger, giving you permission
Yeah.
to do what's in your heart. And your heart says, okay, I'll do it. I'll do it for that one person. And you end up opening a door to a lovely, happy rest of your life, because now you're free to express yourself.
And I
love that.
I think that you do that in the sense where, so many groomers are interested. Like for me, I always joke around and say that, I'm the queen of woo woo, or the original woo woo groomer, out there. But I give myself license to be that and to step into that role. And you, especially being a mentor for me, you are the first person that I ever heard or took a class and heard say spa. Like, because I had been saying it, and I had been just fumbling through what I was trying to build spa. And so I took your class, and you just let the beast loose. It was
I think too, there's a lot of groomers in the pet industry that feel that way. We all deep down love something shiny. We're like birds.
Yeah.
We love our bling. We love our shiny. We like our tarot cards and our astrology and our whatever. And all those things mean something to us collectively and individually. And a lot of us are like that. And I don't think that part of them was being addressed until you really came along. I had to be very sciencey, especially at the very beginning, because of my association with who I was repping for, which is always nice. And I still feel that way. I feel very sciencey, I suppose. I'm not very blingy. But I do acknowledge that there are those among us who really do need that to feel free and fulfilled, and it's a part of them. And it's hard for them to not have their purple hair or not have their wild smock that's all blinged out. That's very much a part of who we are as an industry.
But I also think that you kicked in the door to give license to an alternative way of thinking about how you're caring for that animal. And that's what I mean. As a holistic groomer, for me, people be like, holistic, because I always advertise myself as that. And that was a moniker that I took on, meaning the whole animal. And so when I took that class with you, that was the first time anyone had ever addressed the whole entire animal and not just the fur. And you talked about things that I was trying to look at, and they'd be like, oh, you're not a vet, you can't do that. Or you're only a groomer, and groomers shouldn't be, delving into skincare. But I came from a background of hairdressers. And that's what hairdressers do. And so I always looked at it that way. And then when I took that class with you, because Michelle and I weren't always friends. Michelle was somebody I took classes. She didn't know me from Adam.
We were always friends. We just didn't know it yet.
Well, my woo-woo will kick in and say we were always friends. I think we were sisters in another life, and sometimes mothers, because she will reprimand and tell. I didn't even say that, Aaron. The whole trip, I'd be like, mother's voice. That means we were. I was out of control at some point, and she was telling me,
"Okay, take it down a notch."
Yeah. But no, I think that there's something to say for being that type of groomer. That, you know what, I'm gonna say what I want to say, and I'm gonna get out there and just kind of damn the torpedoes. And I'm interested in skincare. I'm interested in doing more than just the aesthetic haircut, which there's nothing wrong with. It's not
Right.
that that's a bad thing, but it just isn't everyone's cup of tea either.
Yeah, and I believe that all of us have our individual perspective of what
Right.
grooming is, what it can be, and we bring so much else because we have hobbies and interests, and sometimes we are sparked by something somebody said, and I don't wanna miss that.
Right.
I don't wanna miss, yeah, she may have the pinkest hair, the wildest makeup, this, that, and the other, but then she'll ask me a question that I've never thought of before.
Right.
And I'm like, "Oh, I wanna nurture that. I
Yep.
want that to come out because look how much we're missing by insisting that we as pet groomers, fit into some kind of a mold or frame or boundaries." You know,
Right.
I'd like to have all that creativity unleashed. Everybody, in this industry is creative in some form, and I wanna see that nurtured as well as just the pet grooming, as well as the pet grooming, but there are so many other things that we could nourish and enrich this industry with if we just allowed people to step outside the box for a minute and not downgrade them or say, well, that's not how it's done. Well,
Yep.
why not? Let's explore it. Is it valid?
Well, look at
Just because we've never done it before doesn't make it
right.
not valid. So let's
But
explore
look at
those
how many
things.
are taking on additional titles. There's groomers in that are now trainers or
Yes.
behaviorists, or
Yeah.
you know, you have Chrissy Newmeyer Smith, you have Sandra, the enrichment groomer.
Right.
You know, you
Samantha.
have Samantha, sorry. You have all these amazing groomers coming forward and saying, yes, I am a groomer, even though I don't groom like you groom. And there's room for all of us in the industry.
So much room.
Yeah.
So much room. And your people will find you.
Absolutely.
The people that agree with your philosophy will find you because you're expressing yourself to the best of your ability. And I want to see all of that expression.
Yeah.
No matter what it takes, as long as the dog's not being harmed and you're not harming other people, and you're growing within yourself and within the industry, more power to you, ladies and gentlemen, and everything in between. I feel like.
And can we say, gentlemen, how many gentlemen have joined the
Yes, we noticed.
Yes.
When I first started, the few and far between men that were included in this industry were just sparse, little bitty handful of people who were grooming beautifully, but you just didn't see it. Now you walk into the grooming at the vendor hall and wow, welcome to the industry, gentlemen. All kinds of guys are just into it. They've got shops, they groom, they show, they do all this.
They're just bringing that different perspective into a female dominated industry.
Yes.
So it's nice to have a little bit of a mix up with not so much estrogen and a little bit more testosterone and a little bit more male energy, and to just come in and diversify this industry a little bit more.
Right. I really do love it. And all the people are just, it's changing, I think, so much for the better because we're allowing people to step outside the box.
Yes.
It's no longer, this is how you do it. This is what we've been doing for 40 years and this is how I'm going to teach it. It's so much different than that. People should be able to grow. They should be able to speak, the things that they have in their heart and explore those aspects of grooming that no one's ever explored before. I really do believe in that, and express themselves. Absolutely.
Because I truly believe that the majority of people that are in this industry have been drawn to it because they are an artist. They have an artist spirit. And when you look at artwork in itself, there are poets, there are painters, there are sculptors, there's a microcosm of all different talents. And that's what I see our industry like. That it is opening up these doors to people that do, oh my gosh, like the creative stuff and the coke carving.
Mind-blowing, just mind-blowing,
It's just such beautiful
talent. And skills.
Or just to watch somebody like, oh, the universe was kind to us and let us see Mackenzie Murphy on more than one occasion in an elevator.
Right. And stop hogging the elevator, Mackenzie Murphy.
But like to just see the artistry of her gorgeous grooms to perfected structure, and just to see those things. And then there's somebody like you that has your lookbook that shows the progression of coat regrowth from whatever damaged it. And then there's somebody like me that I'm at my booth and I've got things like a success crystal grids and and crystals and sage and smudge and all that kind of stuff. And it's like there's space for all
of us. Absolutely. And it doesn't clash. I think that's what the beautiful thing about it is. I read a post, I think either yesterday or the day before, when someone had posted that her parents themselves still weren't talking to her because they still didn't believe that grooming was a real career, and they were still asking her, well, when are you going to get a real career?
Real job, yeah.
Meanwhile, she's purchased a beautiful house. She's raised 2 children. All her cars were purchased by her career. Like, she's lived a wonderful, fulfilling life. I think it's time. It's way past time.
Yeah.
For people to understand who are not in the industry that this is an actual career. It is a trade, and it will absolutely bring you a really nice life. A nice, comfortable, and on up to a luxurious life, depending on how much you want to work and what angle you're taking. The sky's the limit. You can absolutely be that superstar if that's what your goal is. I think it's brought me a really nice life. I've had all the big houses and the fancy cars, and I'm back to my little cottage bungalow that I love dearly because I'm an introvert. I don't need all that space. I don't need all those things. And I know that's just me.
Send them to me.
Yeah. But some people do desire those things and want those things. And this career will make it possible to get you into any level of lifestyle that you desire. It just depends on how you want to work it.
Right.
So this is a viable career choice. Rather than worrying about having to fall back on being a doctor, a lawyer, or whatever.
Right.
This is it. This is a really good career, and it can lead to so many other things.
Well, there's so many avenues, and the more you educate yourself about finding your niche, find what sparks your flame, your passion, and that's why I say, go to these expos, because that's going to help you see all these different avenues that are out there. I mean, I know groomers that have they were groomers for years and they completely stopped being groomers and they became reps for companies.
Yeah. Not only reps for companies, they become representatives for the government. Like,
right.
I've seen it happen. And they advocate for pets and for the industry and things like that. So, I mean, the sky is the limit. Pets aren't going anywhere. We're always going to have pets. We're always going to have dogs and cats in our lives, among other exotic animals. I don't want to leave any of those out. But I mean, it's always going to be a thing. And the care for them will always be a thing as well. So there are all aspects, the legal aspects of being in the industry, the artistic aspects of being in the industry, financing, teaching, education, actually doing the work of it, our soldiers in the trenches doing those 10 dogs a day. We feel you, sweethearts. We feel you. We've been there, done that.
Yeah. We're right beside you in spirit.
Yes, we are. I just can't do that anymore. So I morphed and did something else. But this career allows you to do that. There's so many opportunities to be had. And sometimes you can just make your opportunity. I remember when the creative wasn't really a big thing, just a handful of people in it. And then the people who were doing it became the vendors for the movement of creative. And that's a whole new thing. So you can make your own way through this industry and still be relevant and valid and loved and cherished and contribute. So, I think the sky's the limit. I love the animal field. I love it. I love the animal industry. I think it's very fulfilling. I will never leave it in some form. I will always have my hand in it one way or another. I can't see me leaving until the day I draw my last. It's just been a wild ride, and I've loved it from beginning to present for sure.
I feel the same way. I mean, and I was told because of injury and, you have to pick a different job. You have to find something else to do. And I was just devastated. And I was on a job interview one time, and they said to me, and it was a non-grooming interview. And they said to me, well, everything on your resume is grooming related. And I said, well, it's been my entire life, basically. Even when I had other jobs, I was a massage therapist, but I was still trying to apply that because animals were always just an integral part of my life. And they said to me, well, who are you without grooming? And I looked at them and I said, not myself, not me. And I said, I don't think I'm cut out for this. It was like a desk job, and I said, you know what? I just don't think this is for me. And I left the interview. And when I left that day, I made a promise to myself. And I said, I will find my way, my space, and how I can stay in this industry and be relevant, and I've worked really, really hard to maintain that and to stay in this and be passionate about it. And I know that it's not for everyone. And I know that I'm not for everyone, but I'm not supposed to be.
Right.
And so for those of you out there doing those same things and thinking or hearing you shouldn't groom anymore, well, maybe you can't groom anymore, but there are still other things you can do within the industry.
There are hundreds of other avenues to take.
Oh my gosh. And we need instructors. We need people so desperately to teach. And if teaching isn't your thing, then, get out there and, if you like product, if you like, any of that stuff, throw your hat in that ring and get out there
and see what happens. Start doing a bunch of different things until something sticks and resates with you. You'll find it. Yeah, you'll find it. You absolutely will.
Going to the expos, taking that step to go one level up in the industry, and get out there and see who's out there and see what's out there. Educate yourself, and you'll find your spot.
I agree.
I wholeheartedly believe that these expos are very, very important to our industry.
And they can be magical.
Oh,
they really can. You'll meet that when you're ready. You will meet that one contact who will take you to the next door, who will take you to the next thing. And then you'll wake up one day and be like, I cannot believe I'm doing this. This is so incredible. I never thought that I could do this. Until you start believing that you can. So I want to be the one to give you permission, if you need it, from my heart to yours. Go for it. You don't have to be a competition level groomer to be very fulfilled within this industry. There are places for everyone here. Everyone. So just find your spot and speak your message.
And they're all welcome at the expos.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Because we see everything from beginning groomers to, career lifetime, groomers at the shows. So
yeah, I believe so.
I think it's an important thing for us to show up.
Yeah, show up. Absolutely. Show up. Show up. Wake up, show up.
Yep.
Do the very best you can every day.
And then show out. Because that's me. If I'm gonna show up, I'm going to be ready.
So here's to you, my fellow groomers, and everybody who's interested in the industry. May your next sip be just as delicious and fulfilling as your last. And we're going to see you again in about a week, hopefully. So we'll see you then. Mwah.
Bye. Juju says bye.